Welcome back to this is video 2 of the Introduction to Business English Secrets. In this video, I'm going to look at the section that I've covered on presentations, and I want to talk to you a bit about that section and what you're going to find when you buy the book. So this section is divided into 5 chapters, and I start off with chapter 1 with a case study, and it's to do with one of my clients that I was teaching in 2013, and we were going through her presentation, and she had to give a very important presentation on corporate social responsibility, so a serious topic. And what she had was she had taken her presentation and it was translated from Spanish and into English. And I highlighted a number of problems with it. And in this chapter, I cover those problems of what happens when you take your presentation, translate it from your native language, and then try and present it in English. So I highlight the problems and then I give the solutions and my tips on how really you should present in English. So that's chapter 1. And chapter 2 then, I decided to share with you 25 expressions that you could learn in advance before giving your presentation. And this was again an experience I had with another client who we worked for 2 weeks on my full immersion courses, helping her to get herself confident when presenting in English. And one of the things we found was that if she had a phrase bank of expressions that she could use, learn in advance, and use time and time again, it would reduce her thinking time in English and also make her feel more comfortable. Now, there are 4 simple verbs that we use time and time again in English, and that is make, do, give, and take. And in this chapter, I share with you those expressions. And then there's also a phrase bank at the end that helps you to find the expressions that would be useful for you, and then you can learn them in advance and then use them in your next presentation. So it is a very, very useful tip, which is to get a phrase bank, learn them in advance, practice them, and that will reduce that thinking time for you in English. Now, chapter 3 is all about survival tactics. We'd love to have our presentation go smoothly and fluently, but even the most experienced presenter, whether it's in your own language or in English, things can go wrong. And then what happens? Well, panic sets in, and then you think, oh my goodness, now how am I going to get myself out of this situation quickly and smoothly? Now, in your own language, that is hard enough, but in an English or in a foreign language, even more difficult. So, what do? We could say, don't panic. Easier said than done, isn't it? So, what I try and do here in this chapter is to give you some tactics, some survival tactics, some expressions where you're thinking, oh my God, it's all going wrong. What do I do? Well, in front of your audience, you don't want to show that. So what expressions could you use to give yourself that thinking time to think, okay, now how do I, sort this problem out? How do I go back and maybe, make this presentation flow more smoothly? So that's chapter 3 of survival tactics. Then chapter 4 is all about signposting. Now, signposting, what do I mean by signposting? Now, if you imagine you're along a road, you're going down a road, you're driving along, and what is always useful is to have signposts telling you where to go. Similarly, in any presentation, you want your audience to follow your presentation. You want to steer the audience towards the message you're giving them. And also, you want your audience to stay engaged with you. So this is where signposting language is very important. Things like, now I'd like to move on to the next point. Let me go back to the previous point. So it's really giving you those short words and expressions you can learn to steer your audience into the direction you want during the course of that presentation. Signposting also gives you a structure, and that structure is very important to help you also when you have moments when suddenly you forget things. So in that chapter 4, I give you the important language that you need to keep your audience engaged, focused, and following your presentation. So again, that's got nothing to do with long sentences. It's just giving you those short expressions that you'll need. Finally, the last chapter is about some business idioms. You know, I like business idioms, and we do use business idioms like your mind going blank. And what are you going to do about that? Or maybe you get so carried away talking about a product or your service that, you realize the time and you need to come back again. So those are the expressions that we can use, some idiomatic expressions that I share in this chapter that you could incorporate into your next presentation in English. Now, this whole section on presentations is really to give you those tools. So first of all is showing you where the problems are I've seen and what I would suggest you do, giving you those important expressions that you could learn in advance, giving you those very important survival tactics, and helping you structure your presentation with signposting language, and finally with those business idioms. If this all sounds good, then this is all in that first section of Business English Secrets. There's many more, much more that I cover in this book, but that's a starting point. So if you give presentations, this section will be very important to give you that helping hand you'll need. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for joining. If you're interested in getting that book, it's on my website and it's retailing for just £9.99. So that's £9.99, under £10, just to give you this one section. Then of course we're going to be talking about 3 more sections. So stay tuned for the next video. Ciao for now, and this is Shanti Kumaraswamy Street saying happy English and happy presenting. See you next time. Bye.